The five whys method is a very common and well-known method for root cause analysis, and AI is making it easier than ever as long as you have it set up properly. So we're going to talk about the five whys method using AI. What is the five whys method? It's the method of asking why 5 times in order to find the root cause of whatever problem you may be. It's built for manufacturing. It's from Toyota, but there's lots of different applications in a lot of different industries for the five whys method. And now it's being powered by AI to make it easier than ever and to actually get answers a lot faster. So we're going to talk about a 4-step framework when implementing AI into the five whys method, which is step 1, connecting data, building a robust system, training on the five whys method, and then getting it to deliver human-ready outputs. So step 1 is making sure all of that data is accessible by the artificial intelligence chatbot, whatever you may be using. So you need to be pulling data from ERP systems, sensors, maintenance logs, quality records, all into one source. This could include even things like employee sentiment, churn, things like that, and make sure that it has access to everything that you would have access to when you were using the five whys method. No silos allowed. So it can't have disconnected data because now it has an incomplete analysis. So every single gap in connectivity needs to be solved. So real-time feeds matter, having those live data connections, making sure that they're updated for the model, not just giving it a data set, but having the data interconnected in real time. And that is something that a lot of people, especially people that aren't used to using AI, struggle with. They think that they can simply just give it a data set and get great answers, but having that live piece is what takes a tool to an automation, and that's really what we're looking for when it comes to artificial intelligence. So building a robust AI system. Generally, this is where the question of what AI tool am I going to use? Who's going to build it? How is it being implemented? How much does it cost? And that is where using a third party is generally recommended, like Audible. But what you can do is reach out to someone that has experience, knows what they're doing, and then build it for you. So robust, what does that mean? It can handle high volume, noisy data, meaning data that isn't super well processed. It has a few data points in a lot of different categories, and it's just kind of a data dump. It can scale with your operations, so it can handle a lot of requests. It can handle a lot of data, and it can maintain accuracy under varied conditions. A lot of the issues that people are having with artificial intelligence is that it's not maintaining the accuracy from one conversation to another. And this is simply because of the training data not properly implemented and it's not set up properly. So having that consistent and accurate responses anytime you ask it the same question is going to be the differentiator. And so it needs to be secure, auditable, and compliant with whatever regulations you have. And a lot of the time, this is data security. And so having that built in is always a consideration. This can get really intimidating for people that are not using this every day, not building these things every day, because they just don't know all the check boxes that different people have to go through and set up a robust AI system. The next step is training the AI on the five whys method. So we talked about getting the data. We've chosen a system, and now we need to train it on what the five whys method is and exactly how to think, right? This is like training a new person in this industry how to use the five whys method. And so you're going to embed the methodology, you teach the logic, right? Ask why, then ask why, find the root cause, right? You give it this process and you run it through its paces a few times. You want to define your goals, telling it what types of things maybe you're looking for, things that you can do, actionable insights. And then the ideal here is that you set your artificial intelligence, you give it the five whys method. And the bad way to do this is every time you have a problem, you say, here's my data set. Why is this happening? And then it gives you an answer. And then you ask again, why is this happening? And you have to kind of iterate the process. That's not what you want. What you want is to say, hello, chatbot that we have set up with all of our data. I'm running into this issue. And then it runs through the program and then outputs what we're going to talk about next. But it goes through those whys and then asks itself those questions because it knows that that's what's going to be asked anyway. It understands that process and keeps track of every step of the way. So training it on that process is really where things start to get special. So the last piece, the last step is delivering a human ready output. And what that means is something that's more digestible than just, yeah, this is the problem, right? Not only when it comes to five whys, you're generally uncovering layers of issues, finding the root cause, of course, and you want that root cause to be up front and center, but you want to find out where all these steps are going wrong, what data was used to determine that was the root cause. And so having infographics, visual summaries, dashboards, and then of course, resulting in a really amazing report or presentation that goes through all of these issues and can teach you exactly what's going wrong and give you actionable steps to resolve the issues. And this is where people kind of have that aha moment with AI where it's like, oh my gosh, this is amazing and would have taken hours and hours of many different employees' time to produce this, whereas AI can do it fast. So connecting data, you have all of the data in your organization, you build the AI in whatever platform you want, following specific guidelines and rules that your industry may have. And then you train that model, that AI, on the five whys method, setting it up for success, and then teach it how to visualize those results and give you stuff that you can really take action on. So why is this so special? It's fast, right? Instead of having to go from person to person that knows what they're talking about, having someone that can summarize all of that data and then be able to extrapolate understanding from that data takes a lot of time and a lot of money. It can process all of the data from every single source and take all of that into consideration, which can't be done by a human. It would take too long. By the time they figure it out, that problem is not even, we've moved on. So that's what depth means. Consistency means that we are going to be having consistent results across the board. Whereas like if employee A asks it one question about what problem I'm having, it's going to have the same results over here because it's the same data and it's been trained in a very specific way so that people are working with the same information. And then clarity, having those visual human friendly formats. A lot of teams just didn't have the time to do, especially when you're trying to explain these problems to someone that maybe they're adjacent to your industry or work in an area that they don't understand all the specifics. Having it in a very presentable way. You know, your job isn't to create presentations or to present data a lot of the time. So having something that does that for you, makes it easy for you, is really valuable. So how can you do this, right? You need to audit your data sources. You can see what data you have and if it's enough. Maybe your five whys method is just asking people questions and that's not enough data, right? You need to have hard data that AI can look at. You need to engage an AI partner. If you don't have the skill set to utilize AI on your own, this is when you need to either hire somebody or work with a third party to set up this artificial intelligence system and find someone with experience. Training and testing, people kind of skim over this a lot of the time, but testing your artificial intelligence in all of the areas that are important can result in a lot better results. And then obviously deploying and refine. So once you deploy it, experiment, let your employees, let your people experiment with it, utilize it for the five whys, figure out what's going on. Once you get some outputs, you can say, okay, maybe the dashboard didn't quite fit our brand. Maybe we don't really like how it was laid out, or maybe we want it to highlight more things more pronounced. You can go back in and work on it and get it to be better and better. And you're always going to have that feedback loop allowing for this five whys method AI to really, really advance and be the tool that you need it to be. So I hope this helps, and I hope you are able to develop an artificial intelligence chatbot or whatever it may be to really nail down what problems you're facing and how to fix them.